Okay, so I'm going to do this one next. This is something I found the other day. I didn't know what it was when I bought it, although I kind of guessed it would be a dictation machine, and that's what it is. It's a dictation machine. Couldn't figure out how to open it or use it, but eventually figured some things out. It's basically a portable handheld tape recorder. This entire section here slides off, and this is basically a cassette cartridge. In there, I don't know if you can see it. There we are. In there, we've got what I assume is standard 1/4-inch tape and 2 spools. But there's nothing else to it. Well, there's a little window there which has markings on, which A shows you that the tape is progressing, and B how much tape is left. This side's red and this side's white, so I guess you know whether you're on side A or side B. Okay, so that's the tape side. The machine itself is very simple. There's 3 batteries, 3 AA cells. What's unusual is that this microphone, which is on the top, it plugs in and you can unplug it if need be. I think you can put like an extension cable in, whatever. What's a bit unusual is that when you put it into playback mode, it actually uses the microphone as a speaker. Now the problem with that is that because you can't optimize something to work both as a microphone and speaker, so it's a real compromise. The microphone works reasonably well, I suppose, but the speaker mode of it is very quiet. But I suppose in 1960s, which I think when this was built, that was considered adequate for the purpose. So anyway, so put the cassette tape back in. There's no volume controls. There's very little actually. What you do get is a lock button. So it's in stop at the moment, so that can't move with this lock in place. And basically there's 2 positions you can move it. You can move it into record, or you can move it into play. Now there is a possibility of sliding this as well, so that you go play, that's rewind, play to stop, and then it won't go into record mode. It's physically blocked by that little bit of, I say plastic, it's probably bakelite, until you go up, and then you can push it over and go into record mode. So we'll leave it there for now. Okay, so to give a demonstration of this, I'll move the selector into the up position, which is the record function, put into record mode. Now you'll be able to see in the window, hopefully, that the tape is moving. Okay. And then I can say into the machine, this is the Grundig EN3 dictation machine. It is September 2022. Okay. Put it to stop. Push the little red slider back down again. Right, now put it into rewind. Now rewind's a bit dodgy, so give me a few seconds to encourage it to come back. There we go, and then you put it back into play, and hopefully
And then I can say to the machine, this is the Grundig EN3 dictation machine. It is September 2022.
So as you can see, it's not good, but it does work, and to get the technology down into this sort of package back then was really quite impressive. It is extremely simple. I'm just going to show you the mechanism. If this screwdriver will work. Not need a better screwdriver. There we go. Okay, I've misplaced the bit for my screwdriver, so I'll have to just use this spectacle thingamajig. Right, so if we take this off here, and we take this off here, okay, so this is what's inside it. Very, very little. You've got a record playback head and an erase head there. The erase head gets moved into position when you put it into record mode. There we are. And then there's just two other modes. There's play mode, and what play mode does is it pushes that cog assembly up against the inside of, or the outside of the tape spool rim. This being a very, very simple rim drive system, and that works for both play and record. Exactly the same mechanical setup. Okay, it just changes the electronics inside to change this from record to play. And then there's a rewind function which isn't quite working right, because as you can see, when you try to put it across into rewind mode, just before the necessary point of contact, it switches the motor off for some reason. So I need to finesse the electric switch so that it keeps working even when you push hard across into rewind mode. So as you can see, mechanically it is very, very, very simple. Right, I'm just going to show you the inside now. Okay, so that took a bit longer than expected, but I'm inside. Okay, so basically, what we've got here, this is the back of the battery compartment. This is the back of the drive mechanism, and this here is the amplifier, and this here is the motor that drives the mechanism. What's slightly interesting is that the motor has a speed controller based on bob weights. Now, in the old-fashioned wind-up gramophones, my understanding is that the bob weights operated at brake, but they mustn't have wanted to do that for the sake of battery longevity. So as far as I'm aware, how this one works is that it's a make and break system. So when the motor goes too fast, the contacts open, I would assume, slows the motor down, and then the bob weights come back in again, powers the motor back up again, and the motor runs again. So basically it's getting switched on and off very, very quickly. Although it is actually transistorized, the switching of the motor, from what I can make out on the circuit diagram. So it's a electromechanical electronic motor control system, which is by far the most elaborate thing in here. As far as I can make out, there's just a very, very, very simple amplifier. I think that there is actually a volume control, but it's one of these where you just, it's set in the factory and that's it. When I picked this up a few days ago, this was all coated in thick green corrosion. You can still see some little bits in the corners which I haven't quite got out. And the battery contacts were all corroded, so it wouldn't work from that point of view. After we cleaned it up, we then found that the motor was running continuously, and that was because of corrosion around here. And this is obviously where the switch is for the you know something, before I forget, I'm just going to try and fix this switch. Right, okay, sorry about that little diversion there. So we see the motor spinning around now. We see the little bob weights, and there we go, that's it, stopped. And now I want to push it over hard into rewind. The motor's running now, which is what I wanted it to do. So that's off. I'll take a close-up picture and I'll insert that now so that you can see inside that little mechanism there, because it is quite fascinating. Yeah, so that's all very, very basic. Now, it originally had a detachable microphone speaker thing, so you could, like I say, put an extender on, or I think you could actually even put like a stethoscope headphones attachment on. But unfortunately, the corrosion's been so bad that I've lost the pin and I've had to hardwire it in. But you know, that's just the way it's going to have to be from now on. It's amazing it survived as long as it did, really. So let's have a look, see if this rewind's working the way it should be now. There we go.
And then I can say to the machine, this is the Grundig EN3 dictation machine. It is September 2022.
As easy as that. Right, okay, so I'll put that back together now. Just so you know, it comes with a nice little leatherette case as well, which, as you can see, is in extremely distressed state. I'm currently in the process of gluing it. I've glued that edge there and glued that edge there, but I want to do it in stages. But eventually I'll have this case back again. With it in the case, you can still see the window, you can still access the controls, and the microphone will still work as well. So it's a proper ever-ready case. But there we go, the Grundig EN3.